from 2+ million to 1 million, which is still a lot. So let's continue dialing in this designated list. So the industry, this is asking how many years of experience this individual has been in the space. Honestly, this doesn't really mean much to me, so I'm going to skip that section. Connections, these are if you're wanting them to have a certain connection to a certain individual. That doesn't mean much to me either. You can select what groups you want them to be a part of. I'm going to leave that part blank as well. You can also go in and select the profile language. This is the section that I'm going to go into because I want to interact with people who have a profile language of English. And that doesn't really change much in terms of my lead number. It's still in a million range. And then you can also select if they went to a certain university. So for example, if you want to connect with your alma mater, if your high school or your college, I'm going to leave that part more open-ended. And then in terms of workflow, I don't really mess with this portion right now. We're going to scroll back up to the company headcount and the company itself. So company headcount, I want to work with someone who's not self-employed. Those are the people I want to outreach to because they're more likely to have a big marketing budget to bring me on to support with their marketing campaigns for their clients. So I'm okay with working with, let's see, 11 to 50 companies with 11 to 50 people, essentially everything but self-employed. Unfortunately, there's no button to exclude this portion and include everything else. So I'm going to go through and just include everything else other than having 1 to 10 employees. So self-employed and 1 to 10, I'm essentially excluding by not including. You can see that the count is still 1 million. So we need to do more work to dial in who we want to connect with because we're not about to send connections to 1 million people. You can select what companies you want to work with. I'm going to leave this more like open-ended because I don't want to exclude any particular companies. It looks like they're only listing out a few companies who actually have a company headcount in that range. So I'm going to leave all those companies in. There's none of these companies that I want to exclude. If, for example, if someone worked for one of these companies in the past and they don't want to work with them again, like I've worked for Kaiser Permanente in the past, but I'm fine with working for them again in this capacity when I was working for them as a pharmacist. Now I'm more in the marketing space. So that's not a company that is calling out to me to exclude. So I'm going to leave everything there. Or like past companies that the individual has worked with before, I'm fine with that as well. So this is company type. This is something I would want to exclude, again, self-employed. So I'm going to include everything else besides that. So I'm okay with having a public company or working with a public company, a privately held company, an educational institution, a partnership, government agency, and even self-owned. Actually, I'm going to leave out self-owned and self-employed because, again, I'm going to assume that these types of companies probably don't have like a large enough budget to bring on others like support. Company headquarter location. I'm okay with working with companies with headquarters all over the world. But just for the purposes of this list, since I'm trying to bring it down a little bit, I'm going to include United States and North America for the company headquarters. Okay, and it's still in the millions. So because it doesn't make much of a difference, I'm just going to include everyone because it really didn't bring that number down. This role section is actually going to significantly reduce this list. So this is the most important area right here. So I want to connect with people who are in the marketing space. So business development, not so much healthcare services. I'm going to exclude some of these areas. So you can see the number as I'm excluding and including things, the number is significantly changing. So this is the area that's really going to help you like carve out that list. So We still have quite a bit to go, but again, this is the most important area. So we really want to make sure that the people we're carving out are people we actually want to connect with. So I just went through and literally excluded and included all the relevant categories and irrelevant categories, respectfully. So now we're down to 130K results. Still, we're not sending messages to 130,000 people. So now we're going to continue with the roles and go into past job titles. We want them to have current titles, like actively working in those roles. Seniority levels, training. We don't want to really connect with anyone who unpaid. I'm going to go actually and exclude the entry level because they won't be able to actually make those types of decisions, likely, if that changes anything. Years in the company. We're going to go ahead and leave that open. Years in current position, we're going to leave that open. So we have 93,000 people on this list. That's still way too much. So we're going to have to go through and figure out how we can reduce this list even further, because this is way too many people to reach out to. So let's see, what else is here? Activities and shared experiences. Okay, this is something key, spotlights. We want someone who's actually active on LinkedIn. So I'm going to actually go ahead and select posted on LinkedIn in 30 days. If they haven't posted on LinkedIn in 30 days, then they're probably not really even on LinkedIn. So there's no point in reaching out to them. Okay, so everything else looks good with that.